Hi, I'm Coach Michael BURT. To get a free copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, text 678-506-7543. Text to get a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, and I'm going to turn you into a legendary creature. All right, I see people jumping on tonight. Good evening, Coach Michael BURT. I'm very, very excited to be joining with you tonight. We're going to get Nate Auffort up on here. We're going to get Cody Askins in here. And we're going to get this party started. And I'm excited. I am excited. Malcolm, what's up, big guy? We're going to get some old friends, some new friends. I'm going to look at the attendee list and go through. Amanda Banks, what's up? Andy Garrison, Brenda Spray, Cassandra, Chris, Clay Johnson. Man, we're seeing a lot of old friends coming in tonight. So I'm really, really excited about this. Dan, Diana, Eric DeJohn's on here. You guys know that guy. Cody Askins, for me to compete with Eric DeJohn, I got to take my shirt off, man, show my muscles.
Right. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
He's got some big muscles. James Smokes, Jeff Smith.
That's what Nate does.
Hey, I knew you guys were gonna have a cool background, so like I don't have studios, like I'm not big time like you, so I just had to get a cool background and even like compete with the Cody Askins and Michael BURT. So
I love it. All right, I'm going through the list here. Heidi Sellers, what's up? James Smoltz, Janine, Jeff Smith, Jessica Green, Jimmy Fox, Joe Buckner, Jonathan, Kathy, Katie Pace, Kim Dunn, Kimberly, and they're still adding, folks. Laura Watson, what's up? All right. I want to say hi to everybody that joins us. I want to welcome you to the Coach BURT Sellathon because, I was sitting around and I was thinking about, what can we do to really help people during this period? We've all done webinars. We've done a number of things, but I thought, you know what? Nothing happens until something is sold. And so many people, if I've heard this once, I've heard it 477 times, Nate Auffort. It's real hard to sell anything right now. Nobody's buying anything. I can't get anybody on the phone. I can't do like if I hear it one more time, I promise you guys, I'm gonna pull every bit of my hair out. Now, so I thought, listen, I was a basketball coach, high school basketball coach, that the very first thing I had to do when I was 18 years old is I had to sell a guy on giving me the job as a head boys basketball coach. Took me 14 straight days to sell him. Then at 21 years old, I had to sell a principal of the second largest high school in Tennessee to give me the job as the head basketball coach when he gave me objection, right? Then when I was 25, I had to sell my first book. Then when I was 31, I had to sell people on, I started a new company. Then I had to sell Grant Cardone on get me on the 10X stage. Like I could sit here and go on and on and on about sales and thinking about tonight, there's key moments in my life, man, that I had to sell something. I had to sell a conviction. I had to sell that I was a person of interest. I had to sell an impression of increase. And what I've been telling my sales team during this period is, look, there is a convincing that has to go on. You have to sell them something. Like it's not automatically going to sell itself. So tonight we're going to get into these concepts of selling at the highest level. We're going to get into the concepts of basic selling. What I mean by this is, how do you get people on the phone? What's the first thing you say to them? How do you build rapport? How do you disarm people? How do you sell to different personality styles? How do you overcome objection? How do you build momentum toward the close? Like what's your best tactic to close down a big deal? Okay. And I think that's what people want to know. So I want this to be interactive. Okay. For all the people that are on here, we're going to have probably 70 to 100 people on here. I want you to ask questions. I want you to push back. And I tell people, man, I've been getting really raw on the podcasts I've been doing. I told my wife, I said, I don't know if you want to watch some of these podcasts I've been doing, because they've been asking me hard questions and I've been giving raw answers, because I'm tired of fluff, man. I'm tired of all the fluff. I'm tired of the BS that people give. I'm tired of giving an answer that everybody wants to hear. I'm going to give you what's the truth about what I think. And some people are going to like it. Some people ain't going to like it. Okay. So I've got two really studs here tonight that that I've got to know over the last couple of years, and I'm really, really excited about them being here because they are true sales machines in their own way. Uh, I've got to know Nate Auffort. He's been in our higher level club. Both of these guys have been a higher level coaching program, 25K and above coaching program. And I've done events with them. I've watched them. I've listened to them sell. And they're both very, very, very good. I'm going to give both of them a chance to give an overview of what they're doing right now, so everybody knows, because some of you may or may not know them. Okay, and if you're on here, you probably know me from something, right? My name's Coach Michael BURT. I believe everybody needs a good coach in life. I believe a good coach can change your whole freaking life. And I believe that those that have a coach earn 3 and 4 times, if not more, money than those that don't have a coach.
Amen.
I believe who is coaching you matters. Okay, just like you wouldn't turn your kid over to a bozo coach, you don't need to turn yourself over to a bozo coach. You need to be coached by world-class people. And both of these guys have been coached by world-class people, by the way. They both spent hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on personal development. They both believe in it, and they both sold at the highest levels, producing millions and millions of dollars of revenue. So I'm excited about it. So we got Nate Auffort in Dallas, Texas. Nate, welcome to the Sell-a-thon with Coach BURT.
Hey, thank you. I'm honored to be on here. It wasn't too long ago. I remember meeting you at Cody's event, and I tell the story, but I went to 8% Nation. I was sold on that. I remember picking up the phone and I called Cody, and next thing you know, I'm dropping a credit card for the front row ticket. So good job, Cody. I get what they say. Good salesmen are always easy to be sold, right?
Yep.
Right.
And I was in the insurance industry, and I had heard of Cody, but I wanted to get to know who he was, because I've got to meet a lot of people, and this is kind of new to me still, not like a Zoom meeting, but like just the whole world of social media, for up till about a month ago. My last post was, I think, me and my wife when we got married 8 years ago. So I just I'm always so busy, and I'm a private person, and I just never really cared what everyone else was doing. It's like I had enough stuff to do on my own. And so I had heard of Cody. I didn't get a chance to know who he is, but you see people online and then you meet someone in person. I don't know if you guys have ever been there before, but like they're completely two different people. Like they have this like cape they put on, I guess, or mask or persona. And it's like going, who are you? Like you sounded all really good on the computer, but like, who are you? Right. And so like I wanted to get a chance to meet him. And long story short, you were a speaker at the event, and we had a break, and he had all the VIP for questions and answers. And that was the moment where, I had a network marketing background, which you guys know, and I learned from a mentor who was, his prime, he was making $1 million a week. I mean, back when it was cool to make $1 million a week. Not like now, if you make $1 million, you should give it all away and drive a Prius. This is like back when it was cool, like the Trump era, I'd call it, where, he had a $20 million yacht, he had a plane and 52 cars and a 7 Lamborghini. He had a Porsche where, the car where Elvis Presley shot a bullet hole in the steering wheel when he he had this whole car collection. And like I was enthralled with him in my 20s, right? And when I got a chance to know him, he taught me so much stuff about success and negotiating and people and how to sell and how to succeed. And I had an opportunity to go to a lot of his trainings, but like a lot of the times, not him so much, but a lot of people that were his trainers would talk about. We'd have a session of, why are you doing this? And they'd turn the lights down, and then when the music would get soft, and I'd be sitting there and everyone's scribbling away. I'm doing it. And I'm just like, I have no freaking idea why I'm doing this. I don't want to be broke, like I was broke my whole life. I don't want to be broke. I like nice stuff. That Rolex looks really cool when the light shines on the diamonds and I can barely see it, your arm. I mean, like, I didn't know. Right. And so like, and again, it's not like I don't have reasons why I do things, but it wasn't like a driving force when I got out of bed and said, I'm doing this because. And then I remember going to one of his trainings, and he said, Nate, and he started asking people, what motivates you? And someone goes, money. He goes, really? How come you're not rich then?
Yep.
And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, money's not a motivator. If money motivated you, you'll be rich. Well, my kids motivate me. Well, really? Well, how come you're not taking care of them the way you should? Because if your kids really motivated you, so if something motivates you, it gets you to do it no matter what. Like no matter what. And so anyway, I was sitting there, and you start talking about Prey Drive. And if you guys have been around Coach, he's the #1 activator of Prey Drive on the planet. And when you started talking about that, I just went, oh my gosh. Like, I don't have to know why. You talk about you find your why along the way. And I did find my why along the way. But it clicked for me going, man, that's what I want to learn. I want to learn, how do I activate people's prey drive, and how do I activate my prey drive? It was funny because you talked about the 5 areas of how your prey drive is activated. I'm like, check, I'm on that one. Check, being around people bigger than me. Check, when I'm back in the corner. I was like, I guess I have a very highly, easily activated prey drive. So that's where I got a chance to meet you, Coach. And I remember we went to the lodge. We had an 8% Nation get together, and I can't wait for this one coming up, because we stood there. I don't know if you remember this. We took a picture.
Yep.
And it was me and you, and I said, how cool will this be one day when I show this picture? And this, I didn't even know you. You know, I was the first time in your class. I probably thought, like, who is this goon, right? I said, how cool will it be when I take the same exact picture and we got thousands of people behind us and we're doing a training together?
Yeah.
And that's what's coming up, you know? So, I mean, it's like I get goosebumps, so you can see it, probably not. I don't want to get too close, but it gives me goosebumps and chills, because I was also taught that, you know, writing out your goals and having blue cards that are friendly to the subconscious mind and reading them in the present tense, that you do that. And I go through these every day, morning and night, when your mind's the most programmable, your subconscious mind. And one of my goals was to get to know Cody and do things with Cody. One of my goals was to get to know you and do things with you. And it's crazy. It's like a mind hack. Like, people, it's like, I got it because I was a good cheater in school. I know none of you guys ever cheated before, but, like, you know, I was good at it. You know, I really was. I had some really good ways to cheat. Don't hold against it. But you get to cheat. You get to hack your mind. You get to program like a computer. You know, that's why I got taught early on. It's like, oh, hey, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm not the sharpest tool in the drawer. I'm definitely not the brightest light bulb. And how's that saying go? I don't know how the dumb saying goes. But what I was smart enough to do is to learn from wealthy people and go, hey, if I got a mind I can program subconsciously to have it while I'm sleeping, to go out and find ways to create wealth in my life. And I'm talking about wealth spiritually, financially, physically, mentally, socially, not just money. That kind of gets it out of the way, so you can actually pursue what's really important in life. So, yeah, so I mean, this is super cool that I'm actually on this webinar. When you asked me, I was like, wow, I was like, that's two things in my blue card, boom, right on the bat. And you guys had no idea. I'm over here, you know, reading these goals and programming my mind to do that. So it's kind of cool.
Well,
Actually,
I think you said a couple big things that I want to draw out to the group here. Is you had an old-fashioned mentor who would get up in your grill, and if I'm not mistaken, your mentor had a saying: "Do you want to be right or you want to be rich?"
He goes, "Which is bigger?" He goes, "Which is bigger, your ego or your bank account?"
Yep.
I remember one day I said this. I'd let you go. I go, "Man, I got an idea. And he goes, "Really? How much money you make last year, kid?" 30, maybe $38,000. He goes, "I made $22 million. What's going to happen if I start listening to your ideas?" I said, "Well," he goes, "I don't want to see what happens to that. Why don't you just pay attention, do what I tell you to do, and you can get what I got." And he was very old fashioned like that, but that's what I needed.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, those of you that are on here, you know, I was asking a guy one day, this is important to the sales game. All this is going to tie into the sales game, because I was asking a guy one day what he thought I should do. And he came back to me. He's one of my good friends. And he said, "Now, hold on a second. Did you make 4 or 5 times the amount of money that I made last year?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, you don't need to be asking me, because I don't know. I don't know how to tell you to go do that. Right. I don't know how to tell you to get to the next level. Like, you don't need to be getting advice from me." And I think some people out there get advice from a lot of people, and you need to be selective about who you get advice from. So people always ask me about coaching. How do you pick a coach? Well, you need to look at the demonstrated capacity of the coach. What have they done in their life? What have they created? What kind of results have they gotten themselves? Okay. You don't want to go to a broke financial advisor. You don't want to go to a doctor that smokes. You don't want to go to a physical trainer that weighs 300 pounds. You don't want to what you want to do, guys, is you want to go to somebody who knows how to do it. Yep. And it's shown that they can do it. So Nate, we're going to get into, you know, selling tonight. You bring a lot of, methodology to it that you studied, you know, different techniques, different strategies, different, you know, word tracks that you use, which I really, really like. You know, I'm not as scripted as a lot of people think. A lot of people constantly ask me for scripts. I have core beliefs when I sell, and I have frameworks that I use when I sell. I have the 4 steps of the sale that we'll get into tonight. I have the 5 steps to overcoming objection that we'll get into tonight. Right? I have frameworks, but I don't use scripts. I do have closes that I'll talk about tonight that are my go-to closes. You know, one of my favorites is, "I can't help you till you commit. But Cody, once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail." You know, nothing happens until you take action. Right? So I'm excited about that. So that's Nate Auffort. He's got a very successful team and a successful business, and he sold millions and millions of dollars, and we're going to get into that. And just as a side note, he absolutely scared me to death in his McLaren one night in Texas.
That's
And I
right.
was so scared driving through subdivision at 150 miles an hour that I thought I was going to throw up before dinner. So I just said, Nate, you don't have to do that with me, man. I mean, I drive 50, 60 mile an hour, man. My little Range Rover, it don't go 150. So that was just an experience each one of you will need to experience. Now let's talk to Cody Askins. Cody, you are running an organization. You're a young guy. How old are you?
29. Getting old, man. I'm 30.
Cody's a young guy, but he's got a big set of guts on him, which I really like. And he's willing to take risk that 9.7 out of 10 people are not willing to take. And I think that's probably one of the things I like about him the most. And he's teaching people every day how to sell, but he's not only selling certain products and services and different things. He's also selling tickets to events, which is one of the hardest things in the world. I don't care who you bring to an event and how good they are. I don't care if you said you're going to give away $20 million. There would still be people that wouldn't buy a $197 ticket. And so we're going to get into that. How do you sell people to get to something? How do you commit to something where you get an arena that's got 2,000 people in it, and you and you have the guts to go for it? So Cody, tell the folks tonight really about what kind of organization you're running right now. A lot of these are insurance people, but some of them are not. We've got telecom people on here. We've got mortgage originators on here. We got real estate agents on here. We got doctors on here. I mean, everybody wants to know how to sell at a higher frequency. We're going to get into that in just a second, but I want people to know who you are.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you so much for having me too, brother. And Nate, we got that you drive a McLaren out in the first 16 minutes, and I didn't have to say it this time. That's amazing. Nate is a beast, by the way, so I'm super jazzed that all three of us are on this together. I love it. So I got started in sales at 19, calling out of a phone book, learning. I'll transition and tell my story quickly. I was 20 years old in college playing basketball full time, 21 credit hours a semester. I went to a recruiting meeting for insurance. There was 10 people in the room. The sales manager said, "Hey, all 10 of you stand up." We stand up. We're sizing each other up. We're looking around. He says, "All right, 9 of you sit down." And you've been telling me to tell stories, right? So here we go. And so he says, "All right, 10 of you stand up. Now 9 of you sit down." He's like, "One of you still standing." He said, "Maybe one of you will make it." I'm like, dang, dude, that's a real positive way to start this whole deal. But deep down inside of me, I've always been a very competitive individual, right? High drive, high D, high I. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be that person. This dude does not know me yet. And so in that moment, I established a goal and I wrote it down like Nate talks about. I'm big on goals. I write down goals every day. And I wrote down, I will earn $100,000 my first year in the insurance business. I dated it. I signed it and I hung it up on the wall of my cubicle. And then every day I went out to make that a reality, from cold calling and cold door knocking while going to school, while playing basketball, tournaments, games, practices, all that. Could have used a lot of excuses. And 8 months later, I'd earned 117 grand at I guess I was 21 at that point.
Yep.
And I've just always loved sales, man. A lot of people struggle with building rapport, overcoming objections, and closing deals. And I do believe, like Tim's story says, everybody's got a gift. My gift is getting people to make a decision right now.
Yeah, it's good.
It just is. And we do have several companies, 5 different companies doing different stuff. One of them is selling tickets, which is the hardest thing in the world, but we're getting better at it. And I'm actually enjoying the challenge. I'm not going to lie. And so we're selling marketing. We're selling, on the other side of the building, we're selling insurance. We're selling tickets. We're selling consulting, which we've sold 7 pretty good size annual consulting agreements to insurance companies in the last 4 weeks. So we're starting to get better at selling that, and being around you and everything you're doing is helping me be a better coach and sales coach for the insurance industry. And just overall, I'm learning every day and loving plugging into people like you, buddy. So thank you for allowing me to be on and appreciate everybody being here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you to both of you. And I want everybody on this call to know both of these guys have been at my 25K level. They've both been through my $1 million coaching summit, and both of them are going to make hundreds of thousands, they're really going to make millions of dollars speaking, coaching, training, leading. And so I'm proud to see students of our academies that are going out there and really doing it at a high frequency. You said a few things I want to bring up to the group. There's stats out there that show less than 12% of salespeople, less than 12% of Americans will ever break $100,000 of personal income. 12%. Okay. And so when you broke $100,000 that early, that's a big thing that many people will never break. Until you learn how to sell something, you'll never break $100,000 of personal income. Now, the stats on small businesses are this, and you really got to learn how to sell to get to these levels. Less than 4% of small businesses will ever break $1 million of revenue. 96% of small businesses in America will never produce $1 million of revenue. That's top line sales, guys. Top line sales. Okay. It's not profit. So I talk about this in my book, Single Digit Millionaire. If you hadn't got it, the likelihood of you becoming a millionaire is very minimal when your own business don't produce millions of dollars, because you don't have enough excess cash left over. And you don't have enough excess cash left over if you don't have a primary skill. Cody talked about his primary skill being bringing a person to a decision. This is an incredible skill to have when you're selling. How many people hesitate? How many people need to talk to somebody, think about it, sleep on it, pray about it? Bringing a person, number one thing you can do is bring a person to a decision to get them to take action. So let's start off. We're going to go through everything you can think about. Like I said, we're going to go through how to get attention, how to start the conversation, it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's have some fun tonight. First question. I feel like I'm Steve Harvey on The Price is Right. It's not Price is Right. It's the other game show he's on, right? Because I got these questions that I want to ask you. All right. And I'm just going to go quick. Try to keep your answers, tight, because we got a lot to cover tonight, and we're going to take questions from the group. Selling in today's economy, selling in today's coronavirus period, hard or easy? Nate, you go first.
Better, simple, easier.
Explain why.
Well, I guess if you're selling travel vacation packages, that would actually be easier too. So I'm trying to think of one that could be harder. I don't know. But the industry I'm in, because that'd be really great. If you've been on vacation for 2 months, pretty good time. You've probably been locked up and you want to get out, don't you? Imagine you on the sandy beach here after being quarantined for 3. I mean, that'd be simple. So I'm trying to think of one that would be hard. But the insurance industry, I mean, I was at my kinesiologist today because I messed up my back, and he asked me the same question. He goes, "How's business?" I go, "Business is awesome." He goes, "Yeah, well, what if they told you this?" I go, "Try me." And he said something. I was able to come back to with the answer for him, because I mean, very simple. I guess I'll just use it for this transition. Coach, do you ever think that anything ever like this or bad could ever happen again, a pandemic, whether it be worldwide, nationwide, in your state, in your county, or even at home, where either your health, your finances, or your life could be in jeopardy, or your job? Do you think that could ever possibly ever happen again?
Yes.
Right? So how would it be if you were in a situation where all those things were protected currently as we went through the pandemic? Because here's what I know. We can't go in the back. We can't prepare for the future, can't we?
Yes.
So if we know it's going to happen, it would probably make sense to be prepared and have something put in place, so when it happens again, you're not in the same situation you are now, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Great. That's just you said keep them tight. So, I mean, there's a little bit more involved with that, but it's very difficult. Someone goes, "Well, I don't have any money. I'm really concerned about my job." I said, "Wow, I completely understand. I really feel bad for you. I understand. I was in the same spot you were a couple weeks ago." I was like, "So, are you up to date on the news since you shut your cable off?"
Right.
And they go, "What?" I said, "Are you up to date on the news since you shut the cable off? You know what's going on?" He goes, "We didn't shut our cable off." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you were tight on money. Forgive me. I was confused." And I could keep going on that too. So they'll do things. I just act and say things like that. I got to make their brain realize. My mentor always said this, and I'll hand it back to you. When someone gives you an objection or says something, your job is to hold a mirror up in a very nice way and smile and said, "What you just said is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life," but they got to come to that conclusion because now you have complete control. And when they realize, "Whoa, that was stupid. I'm telling them I can't afford money to protect my family, but yet I'm paying more for my cable bill than what's going to cost me to put my family in a situation where I can protect them." But I didn't have to say that, did I? He said it to himself in his brain with his wife sitting there going, "Am I not worth your cable, the price you pay for cable?" So that's the things that I was taught to do a lot of.
Now, I want to bring something out there because there's a couple people that use a method like this. If you ever study Robert Cialdini on influence, on Persuasion, which is the new book he has out. Pretty interesting cat. He calls it seeding, seeding. And those are questions that you ask to persuade a person in a sale. For example, Nate, you would consider yourself a progressive person, right? Nate's going to go. Yeah. You would you say you're open? Would you say you're open to new possibility? Would you say you're open, right? You consider yourself an open person. Yes. Would you consider yourself wanting to play at a higher frequency than what you currently are? Like you believe you have another gear that you can hit, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So see, he just said 3 yeses before I started talking about my coaching program to him, right? You'd consider yourself open-minded. Yes. Okay. And they did certain studies where they would go out on the street and they would ask people a question, cold turkey, with no persuasion. We got a new product coming out. Would you be interested in the new product? We want to put you on the list. We just need your name. And only like 37%, small percentage. I think like 15% of people gave them their name and number. Then they walked up to people and said, would you consider yourself an adventurous person? And those people said, absolutely. Almost 90-something% of the people gave their name and phone number to get on the list to get the new product, but after he seeded the question. Okay. And so he also talked about environments. If you went up to a beautiful lady in front of a donut shop and ask her certain questions to go out with you, she may say no. But if you ask her in front of a flower shop, there was a much higher probability because flowers are associated with being romantic. And so settings are important to selling. So when I heard Nate say that, I heard that kind of seeding. His mentor may have taught it a different way, but he was asking questions to kind of get the person ready to be interested. Right?
Minor agreements, same thing. Minor agreements, trial closes. I think Cody calls it. Said get 7 minor agreements. If you can get 7 minor agreements, most likely 90% of the time, on the 8th time when you ask for your close, they'll say yes. And I was like, no, it doesn't work. And he'd say, practice it. Practice it on your kids. Practice it on your wife. Practice it on your friend. I started practicing it, and I'm like, this is it crazy. Like it didn't have to have anything to do with the product. I would just say, whatever, and I'd get them to say yes.
Well, if you ever watch me speak, at every time I speak, I start with my beliefs. I believe everybody needs a good coach. I believe a good coach can change your life. And I say, how many of you in the room have ever had a good coach? And the people that raise their hand are the most likely to hire me as their coach and buy my products. And how fast do I know that? I know it in the first 15 seconds of the presentation.
Yep.
So I know when I'm walking around a room. If you watch Tony Robbins, if you watch the show, I'm Not Your Guru, they pre-select who he's going to call on. He doesn't just randomly walk out there in the audience and pick people. He picks the person that the team has done research on and said, this dude has got a lot of problems. Pick him out of the audience and do an intervention with him. These are the 12 people that are suicidal. These are the 7 people. What they already know. So the way I know who I want to call on when I walk out into the audience, like you see me do, or like I do at Cody's conference, is when I see people raise their hand and be engaged, I move toward those people. And if I just pat them on the back as I walk by them, they're when I call on a person when I'm doing Zooms by their first name, those are almost always the people most likely to want me to be their coach when it's over. So it's this concept of understanding. I'm seeding, and I'm getting you ready, right? And when I have an ask, there's going to be people that take, but I can show you how to know in 15 seconds. Cody, right now during this period, easy to sell or hard to sell?
Every company we have is up in the last 4 weeks, and 2 of them specifically have doubled. So I would also say easier. And I would say, like, to answer your question of why, it's because people are like, well, especially in what we do, people are captive. They're available. They can't say I don't have time. They can't say I'm not home. They're picking up the phone more. They're people need help with a variety of different things right now more than ever. And I think that I really believe right now is probably the easiest time to sell a product since I've been selling. And I also believe that so deeply that if someone misses out on this opportunity, they're going to look back and say, dang, I should have really took advantage of this time from a business standpoint.
Yeah. More millionaires are made during economic periods like this than any other time. And I want you, what I'm hearing both of you guys say, that I want to make sure the person gets out of here. Look, you can't control the response. All you can control is the stimulus. And I've said it once, I've said it a million times. You got to have the mindset of King David. King David had a mindset that it's going to be a fight, but by God, we're going to find a way to win.
Yep.
That was his mindset until he stayed home 1 year from going into the fight. And that's when he saw Bathsheba bathing on the rooftop over there and he got himself into trouble. The 1 year he don't go into war. What's the lesson for you of that? You get yourself into trouble when you don't go into battle, guys. I'm telling you, these two guys go into battle every day and they got a mindset. They go to bed tired. They wake up hungry. Sometimes I'm sure they wake up irritable just like I do. Sometimes they go home frustrated just like I do. But they get up the next day and they go back into battle. And that's what I respect about them.
Coach,
all right.
Do you think it's easier to sell in today's environment or harder? I had to hijack it for that one.
You know what's interesting? I'm going to tell you here's what there have been some things. I'm glad you asked me because I was going to answer that too. It's been easier to sell bigger coaching packages to people today than cheaper coaching packages. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is it's been harder to sell a $14.97 or a $99 a month or a $49 a month to people because people at that income level are so scared they will not invest in themselves. Big time people. I was coaching a $100 million company in London and Singapore this week. And they said, we may only do 40 or 50 million, but coach, we're interested in you being our coach. Now, here's the deal. They know they're going to be off their numbers, but they're still investing big money into their coaching program because they understand the value of a coach. It's why there's a difference between an accredited investor and a non-accredited. Accredited investors understand the sophistication of risk. Non-accredited people don't, right? And because they've not dealt with that much money. Big time people are still spending money on things because they know. All right. So there's certain things I'm selling that have been easier to sell, and there's some things I'm selling that have been harder to sell. But I don't know until I get into battle. I signed bigger contracts during the recession of 08, guys, than almost any year that I've ever coached. And you know why? Part of it was I was ignorant, meaning I had no consideration whatsoever. I was a basketball coach turned businessman. People would ask me, how much is it going to be? And I just roll out of my mouth $125,000. I didn't think about it. I wasn't scared to do it. They would go, okay, let's get started. 3 years later, I started to have all these thoughts. Well, maybe they can't pay for it. Maybe they can't afford it. Maybe I shouldn't ask for it. Maybe I should lower my prices. My own brain got in the way. And I'm going back to that young kid 10 or 12 years ago that wasn't scared of anything, man. I'm just going to ask. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you can't pay for it, you can't pay for it. If you want me to give you a different product, but having multiple products, Nate, during this period has been very vital. We opened a publishing division during this cycle, and we have all kinds of people that our team is writing books for at $5,000 to $15,000 a pop because now people are home. They've got some time to focus on their book. They don't want to write the book. We got a guy that writes the book for them, and he'll do it at an economical price, and he can do it in a 60 to 90-day window. So I pivoted. I got a health division that we're signing up people in our health division, right? That's a big thing for people right now. So what I've done is I've had these other divisions on my mind, and I said, this is the right time to open them. Let's go. Let's do this. So that'd be my answer.
That's cheap to write a book, man. That's 15Ks.
Cheap, yeah, it's real cheap. Now, second question, and I got some questions on here. Eric White just joined us. We were joking around today that we may do a telethon. You know, Jerry Lewis used to do those telethons, and my team was talking about doing a 24-hour telethon where we just go 24 straight hours on something, and it just be so ridiculous. And we get on there, and I said, Eric White's it's not Jerry Lee, he's Jerry E. You know, he'd get dressed up in a tuxedo and be Jerry E. Now, second question. We'll start with you, Cody, then we're going to come to you, Nate. How do you get a person's attention on the phone? Because I hear a lot of people say this. We make 80 calls a day, my office, 40 in the morning, 40 in the afternoon. There's a reason we do that. It's based on a law of diffusion and innovation. But I hear a lot of people say, man, I called 80 people and couldn't get one of them on the phone. What do you do, Cody, to get people on the phone? Because if you can't get their attention, you can't get a sale. What's your tactic?
Yeah, so I've got my team like pre-qualifying and setting me up with some bigger client calls every day. And I'm learning that I've got to be in control within the first several seconds of that call. So I'm jumping on the phone in control. And a lot of times I'm asking something that is insane, off the wall, makes no sense, but it gets their attention, right? There's a burst of energy, and I'm in control from the very beginning, you know? So I may jump on the phone and I don't even know anything about the person. I may say, dude, it sounds like you're pretty much ready to get started working together, aren't you? And they're like, dude, I mean, maybe, and I'm like, well, dude, within the next 10 minutes, that maybe is going to turn into a yes. I can guarantee you that, right? It's just a different confidence level, a different certainty. But like especially when we're selling training and consulting and coaching and tickets and stuff, like I jump out and punch them in the mouth and gain immediate control of the call.
It's good. That's good. And use a little bit of that shock factor. I say on a scale, here's what I say, Nate, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about this?
Yep.
Because Eric White only puts me on the phone with serious people. I only want to coach serious people. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you? And they'll go, oh, I'm a 6. Sounds like you're ready to go then. You don't need to be at a 10 to get started, right? So how do you, Nate, get a person on the phone? Let's say you're trying to get Coach Burt's attention, right? And Coach Burt's busy and he's moving and he's circulating around planet Earth and he's running wild and he gets a bunch of phone calls and emails every day. How do you get me on the phone?
What am I? Do I have a relationship with you? Am I trying to sell you something? Have I never talked to you?
Let's say you don't. Let's say for the purposes of this, you don't have a relationship with me. Maybe you met me at 8%. Maybe we had a nice talk up in the private rooms that Cody creates. That sounded kind of weird. The private rooms, the VIP rooms.
I wasn't at those private rooms. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Hey, that's an extra. That's a special package that he sells. That's kind of undercover.
My wife's
but the VIP room. Let's say you and I met at the VIP room. I thought you were a cool dude, but that's it, man. Then you come back and you say, look, Coach Burt's on my hit list.
Okay.
Coach Burt's on my hit list. He don't know he's on my hit list, but he's on my hit list. Okay. How do you get my attention?
What am I want? I guess there's several ways I would do it, but what do I want to get your attention for? Do I want to get your attention
to explain your services? You want to sit down with me
okay.
and go through your debt-free life. You want to go through the presentation with me, but you met me one time, but you don't have a relationship with me. What would you do to get my attention?
Well, one of the first things I gotta do is figure out how I can offer you something to get your attention for you to call me back, number one.
Okay.
So whatever that would be. Hey, listen, Coach, really great to meet you. I'm super interested in your coaching program. I just had a quick question for you. And of course, now you're going to go, whoa, everyone's tuned in to WIIFM. It's the world's favorite radio station. What's in it for me, right? That's what they're all in tune for, right? So if I can get your interest to go, what's in it for you, then most likely you're going to respond back to me, whatever that is. That's basically how I would do it. And I love the fact the scale 1 to 10, because if someone's interested in me, that's or shows any interest. It's funny. It's exactly what I was trained to do. Hey, Coach, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I got a lot of irons in the fire. You're someone I'm thinking about working with, but I'm not quite sure. You're one of the people that I'm interviewing for. Or 10 being, hey, listen, I know you've done. I've known your success you've done. I've seen your track record. I'm your clay. Mold me. Show me what to do. I'm ready to get moving forward with you. Where do you see your fitting? Because this call could go 1,000 different ways. Where do you see yourself fitting in on that scale?
Good.
Well, I'm a 7. Okay, is that based upon time or money, or what is that 7 based on? What do we need to do to get you to a 10? Nice. And then they basically just, I call it the gathering information phase. Whether you're selling, whether you're recruiting, whether you're doing anything. Again, my mentor is hardcore. He said, if you give people enough rope, they'll figure a way to hang themselves, right? So if you give people enough rope, they'll figure a way to hang themselves. And he talked about gathering the ammunition. So I don't want to get off track there, but just basically, if I'm going to try to get a hold of you, I'm going to try to figure out what can I bring to you of value. Yeah. So then therefore, because again, if I bring something to value of you, then you kind of, if you're any type of a decent human being, you almost feel vested that you have to listen to me or do something, or at least listen to me about something. So
yeah. I want to pull something out he said, because I thought that was really, really good. He first called me and said, I'm interested in your coaching. Okay. Now, if you call me and said, I'm interested in your coaching, you're going to get a call back either from me or somebody on my team. Okay. And I think too many people lead with trying to tell about themselves. Man, I've been in business for 25 years. I'm really, really good. And right. And go back and watch the interview I did with Steve Sims. And this goes into person of interest. Steve Sims, the modern day Wizard of Oz, right? The art of making it happen, blue fishing. And he said, if I walked up to you, if you were with Brad Lee, you guys were in a bar in Vegas, and I walked up to you and said, man, I've had dinner with Elton John. I've done this with Elon Musk. I've done this. What would you say, Coach Burt? And you, I would say, man, who is this? Who is this dick? Right? Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
He said, but if I walk past you, because I don't really know you, and went to the corner of the bar and had a sip of whiskey, and Brad Lee said, hey, did you know that that's Steve Sims, like the modern day Wizard of Oz? Like, he's the guy that makes it happen. He wrote the book Blue Fishing. Then he's the buyer versus the seller. This is why you really want to become a person of interest. The more you become a person of interest, the more people come to you. You don't have to go to them. Your demand is incoming versus outgoing. And we'll get into person of interest later, but the idea of person of interest is you are an interesting person. You're living an interesting life. You have an interesting methodology. You've done something interesting. So now there's an inflow of people coming to you.
Well, with Cody, whether he knows this or not, that's how I met him. Because I was looking for some final expense leads, and then they said Cody Askins. Why do I know that name? I started looking up Cody Askins, and of course he's all over the place. And that's how I met him. Because I told his guy, I said, I really love to talk to Cody. Oh, he's busy, something like that. Well, I have a team of about 100, 200 people, and we're really interested if I can get these leads to work. Potentially, I mean, it was probably 5 minutes. Cody was on the phone with me selling me a ticket to 8%. Well, I got his attention at least, right? So I was able to get your attention for you to sell me something, which was good. You flipped the script.
And I think you need to do, you know, what I do is we create short 1 minute hype videos. And I think every person on planet Earth should do this. You have a philosophy. Cody has a philosophy. Nate has a philosophy. I have a philosophy. We create 1 minute real hype videos that we can use on Instagram, but we use them very much in the sales cycle. Because I'm trying to get the attention of a CEO. I'm trying to get the attention of a person. I'm trying to say, man, this is my beliefs. Click and watch this 1 minute video. And it's me moving about the world, but it's a voiceover with me talking about, hey, I'm Coach Burt. I believe everybody needs a good coach in life. I mean, and I have a thought, hey, I want to do one on competitive intelligence. Hey, I want to do one on my legacy selling system. Hey, I want to do on my follow-up. And I can't tell you how many of those people come back to me and go, man, those videos, that video got my attention. Because it's short, but it allows me to just punch them. Boom. This is who I am. Like it, don't like it. In, out. Okay? So when I'm trying to get a person's attention, I call. Okay? I leave a great voicemail with a bunch of energy, like Cody said. Right? Hey, this is Coach Michael Burt. I believe everybody needs a great coach. Many times I say, so-and-so told me to call you. I'm calling you right now. Okay? And then I don't get them. I leave a great voicemail. Then I immediately voice text them. Hey, this is Coach Burt, man. I just left you an incredible voicemail. You got to check it right now. Then I send a video. Hey, this is Coach Burt. I noticed I hadn't heard back from you today, right? Left you a great voicemail earlier today. Let's catch up tomorrow. Then I send them one of those hype videos. Hey, in the meantime, before we connect, watch this video. Now, I've gone to get their attention 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Whether they respond or not, I really don't care. A lot of the big deals I closed, they never responded. They literally never responded to me until one day I got a phone call. Hey, I need help. You've been in my face. I've had a chance to check you out. It looks like you're really, really good. Can we sit down and talk about it? So I want you to understand the concept of the core offer. Many times you don't lead with the core offer. It's just the seeding. You're letting them know who you are. This is why having YouTube videos is really important. People can go there and watch thousands of hours of YouTube videos about you and go, man, I like this dude. Okay, I watch certain pastors every morning, and I feel like I know them because I've watched them every morning that I woke up, every single morning. I mean, if I met them, I'd be like, man, I've known you for thousands of hours, and you build affinity, okay? So I want you to use some of these tactics. If you're not using these short 1 minute videos to get a person's attention on your philosophy, you really need to be. To me, that's one of the best things we do to get a person's attention. And if they come back and say, I'm not interested, would you rather know in 15 seconds or chase somebody for 15 months?
15 seconds.
You know, so when they come back and say, look, I'm not interested, great, thank you. I'm not looking for, I'm only looking for people looking for me. So thank you for letting me know that. There's no such thing as rejection, by the way. Some will, some won't, so what?
Who's next?
Some will, some won't, so what? That's what you got to think. Who's next? I'm looking for people who are looking for me. There's 7 billion people. All right, Nate, this one's for you. Once you get a person on the phone, this is for $500. Once you get a person on the phone, I have 4 steps to the sale. Initiate, I disarm, I locate a significant problem, and I offer a compelling solution. Okay, so for those people writing that down, those are my 4 steps to the sale. I initiate, call, email, bump, nudge, video, voice text. I initiate. All sales starts with initiation. Too many people don't initiate. Then I disarm. Nate, where you at today? Nate, when's the last time you drove somebody crazy in that McLaren? Right? Then Nate tells me, then I'm like, oh man, I remember that night. I disarm through connection. I build rapport with people. Okay. Then I come back and locate a problem through discovery as I'm talking to him, and I have a structure I go through. Nate, I'm going to give you 3 areas. Where do you think you're losing money? You're losing money in your explanation of service, your selling system, your follow-up. And he goes, man, my follow-up sucks. Okay, great. If I could show you here's what I'm going to do, Nate. I'm going to send you my $1 million follow-up ebook. And I broke it down for 6 hours. I'm going to send this to you to watch. And then I'm going to follow back up and see. Then I'm just building my value. I'm not necessarily trying to sell him something right then. I'm just pushing him to something. Hey, Nate, I'm going to be in Dallas, Texas on this date. Would you come be at this event with me? I'm going to break down my $1 million follow-up system. Right? Then he comes and sees me. That's when he goes, I like this dude. I want to get in at 25K with Coach BURT. Okay. Now that's my 4 steps to the sale. When you get a person on the phone, what are your steps to the sale?
Man, I didn't have to go through all those steps. You closed me right to the VIP lunch. That's not fair. I guess I'm easy, right?
Early adopter, innovator, early adopter.
Well, what's funny is I'm writing down all your steps. I'm like going, it's going to sound like, oh yeah, you're saying coach does. I have a 5-step program, but you have a 4-step program, but it's the same steps. You know, it's identify, gather the information, attack and confess, logic and reasoning, and then they give them the solution. You know, so when I'm identifying, right, I'm sitting down there, I'm finding an area of common ground. I may be asking about their mom, dad, brother, sister, and aunts. I don't say this the wrong way. I do care, but that's not why I'm asking those questions, right? I'm disarming it, like you talked about, but I'm building a common ground through the report, right? And I'm trying to find an area of commonality where I can have a bridge because people like themselves. They just do. You know, I used to be a smoker. Some of my best friends ever made when you're out smoking a cigarette because you're smoking and they're smoking, or you walk into a bar, you're like, you know, you don't even know the person. They got a, Ohio State cap on or a t-shirt on. You're like, oh, wait, they're like, oh, you know, next thing you know, you're at the bar having drinks. Like people like themselves, right? So I'm going to be in that identify stage, right? Then I want to gather the ammunition. What I mean by that is, it sounds like an awful analogy, but this is how I was trained, so I'll use it. Most salespeople, they walk into a sale and they think they need to have this script like you talked about, or memorize, or there's some one-liner that's going to be able to get them. And so they'll go in there. And so many people come back to me. I said exactly what you said, but they go in there and they're like, they're like, the person's not dead. Well, because you're shooting a gun with empty bullets. There's no bullets in there. My mentor said that they have the bullets in their hand. And unless you ask them questions, they're going to hold on to them. So you're going to be shooting blanks. How you get those bullets to put into your gun is by asking them questions. Yep. Gather the information, and they'll give you all that you need to know. How can you offer a solution to a problem that you don't know exists? And so many salespeople, including myself in the back of the day, I'd be trying to sell them on a solution without even knowing what their problem was, right? See, people don't need to be sold. If your car breaks down on the side of the road and you got a flat tire and you go back and try, you know, I remember that happened with my Denali. I didn't even know where the freaking spare tire was. I think it was underneath. You know, I'm like, looking for it, you know, underneath the mat. Like, it doesn't even fit there, right? I'm a car guy, but I don't know anything about cars, right? And you're looking for the tire, what do they call it, a tire iron or something to take lug nuts off, and you don't have one. And then some guy pulls on the side of the road, he gets out of the car and goes, hey, it looks like you need some help. I got a tire iron in the back of my car and that thing to take the lug nuts off. Would you like it? Yeah, because I got a problem and this guy's got a solution. Yep. But like if he comes, pulls up the side of the road and stands there for 4 hours talking about how great a screwdriver is, I don't need a freaking screwdriver. I don't want the screwdriver. I don't need the screwdriver, right? So when I'm in that gathering information, I'm finding out what is their problem that my product can solve. And if they don't have one, I help create one. Because if I can create a realization in your mind that you have a need for what I have, you will buy anything that I'm selling. I did it in network marketing for my mentors training. I did it in credit card processing. You know, I did it in insurance. You know, Cody's always, you know, likes to talk about my car. He likes to talk about how I wrote, you know, so much insurance my first month. It was because I knew about people, right? If I came in and I said, hey, I'm with Visa MasterCard, we did credit card processing, right? Oh, we have 20 of us came in last week. I'm all set. I'm with my bank, right? I have a great rate. You know, instead I'd say, hey, if there was one area about your business that you'd like to change, what would it be?
Yeah.
What would it be?
It's good.
Well, you know, if I could get some more customers, and then boom, now I had a track. So if I could show you how you can increase your customers by 10, 15, 20% and save money in your bottom line, would it be worth 15 minutes of your time to spend talking to me?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? Guess what? Now I got them. So I'm gathering the information, right? And then I'm going to attack and confess. It doesn't mean like pounce on them like you talk about with the prey drive, but then attack and confess. I'm going to attack the position where they're coming from, right? So I can confess to them that their objection they're going to give me isn't going to work, right? They call it attack and confess. And I can go into different details to part of the sales presentation. But at this point in time, after I gather the information, I'm going to start testing what objections they're going to have at the end so they don't use them for me at the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if money or time. And what I've got taught to do, it's kind of where you're watching a TV screen, coach, and I don't know what you're watching. Without me gathering information and going through that attack and confess, I don't know if your TV screen, you're watching sports and I want you to watch the Olympics, you know, and you're watching football and I want you to watch the Olympics, or I don't know if you're watching SpongeBob and I'm trying to get you to watch the Olympics. You know, there's a big difference between changing your mindset from football to let's focus on the Olympics versus you're watching SpongeBob and Patrick and was it SquarePants, whatever it is, my son's favorite show when he was little, and I'm trying to get you to watch sports, right? So my job at that point in time is to figure out what TV screen are you watching and how can I get you to watch my TV screen? For example, imagine you walked into your dream home, coach, and you walk up the marble stairs, there's pillars on each side, the doors swing open, and you're going, that's not my dream home. That's what sales guys do. It's not my dream home. Yeah. My dream home is a log cabin. I want a big bear rug, and I want 5 deers hanging on the wall. How do I know what TV screen you're watching? Because I can talk about your dream home, and if I'm trying to force feed my thoughts and ideas about my dream home, I lost the sale. Yeah. But if I have all the information, then when I come to that point where I got to create a realization in your mind that you need what I have, you'll buy whatever I'm selling, then I can visualize you. Hey, imagine walking your dream home. That wood door, you can hear it creak as it opens up. You smell the burnt ashes from the fire last night. Man, there's this bear rug laying on the floor. Looks, you know, most beautiful, you know, buck on the corner. You're going, yeah, man. You know, are you going to be able to get there with currently what you're doing right now? No. But if you could do this, this, and this, that could be a reality in a handful of years. But if you keep doing what you've been doing, that's not going to be a reality, is it? No. Would you like it to be a reality? Great. I can help you by doing this. So that's kind of the simplicity. Identify, gather the information, attack and confess. Then the logic and reasoning is what sales guys get really screwed up on. That's the least important part of the sale, and people spend so much time on it.
Yeah.
People make emotional decisions, not logical. The
That's
logical backs up the emotional decision you already made with logic that goes, okay, that makes sense. My sales presentation insurance is no longer than 5 minutes. I talk about 5 minutes of insurance because their brain goes, oh, okay, that's how it works. No, they're living their life without my product and they are living it. And they're living my life with the product. So I create a pain point. I take the salt out. I start rubbing it in there in a very nice way, smiling. And then I go, hey, here's the Band-Aid. Do you want it? You want it? You want the Band-Aid? You want it? And so people move, was a crocodile brain talking about? People move towards things that move away from them.
Yeah, things they don't.
Right?
Yep.
They want what they can't have, and they only value what they pay for.
Yep.
And what I used to do in sales, it's just like, well, you know, if you have a relationship, that's the girl you don't want to go out with, or the guy, if that makes sense. So those are my 5 steps.
All right, so let me pull some things out, Cody, and I want you to talk about. I may pick a specific part of the sales cycle that I want you to talk about, but I want to say this to the people that are watching this because this is really critical. Number one, you're not selling a product, you're selling a solution to a problem. Too many people try to sell a product. I tell my sales team, you're not selling a coaching program. You're selling that with Coach BURT in your life, you're going to make a lot more money. You're selling a solution. You're selling a structure. The second piece is I bring the structure. The challenger salesperson knows the problems they've got. What did Steve Jobs say? The customer never knows what they want until you tell them. Yeah. You have to show. We didn't know we used to have boom boxes, guys, that we carried around on our shoulders until Steve Jobs came around with the iPod. He told us we need an iPod with 1,000 songs in our pocket.
Yeah.
So my point is, when I'm talking to a person, I'm the authority. I know what the problem is. And over 12 or 13 years, everybody's got the same problems. So I say, out of these things, based on coaching thousands of people, where do you think your biggest missing structure is? And I said, here are 5 common missing structures. And they'll go, oh my gosh, right here it is. You can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. If I could help you with your follow-up, you'd probably make $500,000 more. That sound good to you? But I can't help you till you commit. Once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. Okay. So I bring the structure and show them the structure, and they go, I didn't even know that was the structure. Although I know I'm missing that. So Nate brought some good parts there, but the challenger does not ever let the consumer control this scenario. You're the expert. You're the doctor. When they come to you, help them. They don't know what the problem is. They just know they hurt somewhere. You tell them, this is where you're hurting. This is how we're going to solve the problem. This is why you need me in your life. Okay. Cody, when it comes to your steps to the sale, you know, Nate's got 5, I got 4. They're all really very similar. Okay. As long as you ain't got 27, because we got to move, we got to keep this thing moving. What do you think is the most important part? Let me ask it to you this way. Out of those steps, when you call, what do you believe? Is it the initiating? Is it the disarming? Is it the locating a problem? Is it offering a compelling solution? What do you believe when you're selling is the most important part of that?
Yeah, I mean, and one thing you just said too is great salespeople, in my opinion, they tell someone what we're going to be doing. They don't ask, right? They ask along the way. They fact find. They ask questions. But when it's time to make a decision, I don't ask, do you want to do this? You know, dude, we are doing this, aren't we? You know, that's a different, and it's just, it's, you know, it's very assuming as well. But I really believe that most people struggle with getting the individual to know, like, and trust you throughout the warm up, because I call, you know, warm up, fact finding, present and close, and cool down, 4 steps, right? All similar. Yep. Most people struggle with warming up and fact finding, right? They never really get a chance to even close, and you know, and when they do, they're just not used to it. If we're better at building rapport and sharing back and forth, right? My buddy Ramiz says the give and take, you know, and if we're better at building rapport and really sharing and getting them to know, like, and trust us. Like, if they don't know who we are, you know, and we're not sharing back and forth, and we're not asking the right questions, and we're not really slowing down, you know, then why would they spend any money with you? They don't know you yet, you know. And that's what I mean. There's several like misconceptions, you know. A lot of people, salespeople talk past the sale, you know, time kills all deals. People think the gift of gab is great. A lot of people sell with their own wallet. Some people never even tell or ask later in the sale, you know, but overall, it's really, I believe, really slowing down and creating that likability factor.
Yeah, because they trust you, right? They trust that you're an expert.
That's right.
Now, you said something that both of you guys, I don't think either one of you do this, but a lot of people I coach do this, is they sales flirt. And sales flirting, in my opinion, is kind of obfuscating around the ask. It's not having the prey driving guts to go, Cody, it sounds like this is exactly what you want to do. Are you ready to get started right now?
Yeah.
It seems like if I use the word, it seems like this is perfect for you. It sounds like this is what you've been looking for. It feels like this is the perfect plan. Now, what would stop you from doing it right now?
Yeah.
Coach, I think, oh, go ahead, Cody. It's fine.
Well, no, either way. I mean, I was going to add was something I like to do towards the end is, you know, dude, you because I love the 1 to 10 as well. But something I love to ask later on in the sale is, you know, Coach, before we got on here, you knew we'd be doing business today, didn't you?
That's good. Yep.
I like that. Yeah, it comes when you say sales flirt. I never heard of that one. I was like, what is that sales flirt? But you know, I think we've all heard it. My mentor always said, assume the sale, right? But one of the things I like to do, which you can't do if you don't have enough information, is then I can make it sum it up, so I don't have to go into detail. But based on the information that you've told me so far, so whatever it was that they told you, right?
Yep.
So with all the information you just gave me about this, and this, and based on my professional opinion, I love that line, because now doctor, patient, attorney, client, based on my professional opinion and all the information you told me, here's what we need to do. And I just go through it. 95% of the time, no matter what I'm talking about, they go, Because again, if you establish it the right way, they're used to that. People are human beings. A human being's mind is like a dog looking for somewhere to pee. It is, right? You ever have a dog like looking for somewhere to pee and you're trying to drag it? You just got to pull their leash. Hey, based on the fact that you told me about this, this, and this, the missing structure of life, and based on the fact of my experience and as my professional opinion, here's what we need to do. And you do that with me, coach. Hey, based on everything we talked about today, Nate, you got to be at that $1 million coaching club. Okay. My brain's the same as everyone else's brain. My brain operates just like everybody else's in terms of that. So you just got to have that control, what you do.
Well, and we're going to work through the closes. So the people that are watching here, we're going to go through some of the best closes that these guys have, because I do think that is important. And, when you think about initiating, I bet some of you on here are saying, I don't initiate enough. I didn't tell you why we make 80 calls a day, because I believe in the law of diffusion. The law of diffusion says that roughly 16% of people will be open and inviting to an idea. 34% of people need to see it 3 to 7 times. That's early majority. Late majority, another 34% of people need to see it 7 to 15 times. Then there's 16% of people ain't never going to see it. You don't know until you initiate. You don't know until you call them. You don't know until you work the freaking muscle. That's the point, which is why you got to make the call. You want to say something to that, Cody?
Yeah, something on that note that I really believe, and anyone on this call, I'm sure can relate. I really believe that how you buy is how you sell. If you make decisions quickly, if you join the 25K Club quickly, if you buy a car quickly, if you buy a house quickly, it'll be easier to sell quicker. And if that's the way you buy, like I buy very quickly, so I expect people to buy from me quickly, so I sell quickly, and they feel that.
Yeah. Well, to that point, I didn't get big into personality profiling until the last couple of years. Okay. And I was a high school coach, and here's what I found out. Kids yield to authority a whole lot better than adults do. Okay. So I could tell a kid, do it, and the kid would go, okay, yes, sir, I'll do it. You tell an adult to do it, and they look at you and give you 15 reasons why it won't work, and they don't want to do it. You got to psych them up and motivate them. And then I started studying these personality profiles, and I got certified in the DISC. And the DISC profile is a cheat sheet. It tells you exactly how to give information to the person. So if you're a high D, like Nate is, if you're a high D like you are, I could tell that literally within the first few minutes of the phone conversation. Like to me, right? Like if you're trying to sell to me and I'm a high D, I don't want you don't have to ask about my kid. You don't have to ask about what's going on with my wife. You don't have to ask what the weather's going on. I want to know one thing. How are you going to make me money or save me money? That's all I want to know. That's how I want to be sold to. Okay. So you got 15 minutes if it's a meeting. Okay. And you got to articulate to me how this is going to help me. Okay. So my point is, I wrote this note when both you guys are going through your steps to the sale, because once I learned the DISC, I could even tell through a text message what profile person is today and how they text, right? Like I don't typically make decisions as fast. They're a C. They're a high C. They need more information. They need more assurance. They need more proof of example. High D's like, look, I'm really busy. I'm running at full speed. I got 7 minutes later today, right? Boom. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help you make $2 million more. Here's the 7 tactics I'm going to use. Here's who I've done it for. This gives you a cheat sheet, right? Like you can literally sit there and look at it and go, okay, this is how I need to communicate. So I think you have an advantage, guys. No matter what you do, Nate studied personality profiles. If you really understand that, you give them information the way they want it. I've lost millions of dollars by forcing my high D personality on people. If Nate's a high C and I go at him like this right here, he gets scared and he retreats away from me. He's like, dang, I don't want this dude to coach me. That's what I'm going to get. Like he's like I've lost money. And after I studied that, I knew I lost the money and how I pushed too hard on a person that's either a high S or a high C. Okay. So I just want to bring that out. Now let's talk about follow-up.
That's huge though, Coach. I know we were short on time, but that's huge. That was the single-handed, and I didn't study the DISC profile, but I don't want to say they're all the same, but there's 4 major personality types, right? And I know that everyone has a different way of doing it, but that revolutionized and changed my life in terms of my relationships with my wife, my children, my friends, selling things to people, building sales organizations. And it's so key to be able to be able to deliver information to people in the way that they want to hear it. Like you said, you want to deliver the information. I don't even know about my kid's name. And on top of that, you want to think it's your idea when we're done. So, and you have a different type of personality type where they don't want any hype. You start telling stories and hype and you lost them. It doesn't matter. You can just give them a piece of paper basically and say, okay, here's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's the result. And here's documentation for a third-party study. And here's 7 other people who followed this one, boom, boom, and here's the what take a look at it. And what time you want me to call you back tomorrow? That's all they need. The more you talk, the more you're losing the sale, the more you're hyping everything else. They're smart enough to realize that there's a plan that's going to be executed and it has a result and it's factual and I can find the results. I'll do your plan. So shut up.
Right.
Just give me the information, and then you have that personality where, they don't care. They'll buy a pair of shoes because you gave a pair of socks to the homeless. It's just, you got to have a cause by what you're doing. You got to be helping people with your product or your service or you personally with your money, or you're going to turn them off. So those things were so crucial in helping me to become successful in building sales organizations and sales. So I would encourage all you guys, whatever it is, the disc profile, if you learn what I learned or how you want to do it, that's key. That's super key.
Well, I think now that I really understand Prey Drive and I've studied Prey Drive at a very high level, those are motivators of people, motivators of behavior. If you're motivated by if everybody's going, like if you use environment and you say everybody's going to 8%, everybody who's anybody in insurance is going to 8%, you'd be a fool not to go to it. That's a motivator for people.
Which is true.
So-and-so is going to be there. 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 Like it is a who's who of people, man. Like you would be an idiot not to go there. So my point is, if you know that, you can use that as an activator of Prey Drive. Environment is an activator. Okay. Exposure. You're going to get exposed to this person and they got this special methodology. That's an activator of Prey Drive. Competition is an activator of Prey Drive. Hey, so-and-so's kicking your butt, man. They're going to be there. You could learn how they're kicking your butt if you just show up. Right? Like that, get some competitive juices flowing. That will get a person to take action. So I'm actually now using not only the disc when I sell, but also the activators of Prey Drive on helping understand, right? Helping fear of loss. Hey, this is a big deal. There's a lot of money to be made. I'm only bringing in a few people. If you're interested, you better get in right now. And let me give you one example of how much money can be made. Okay. And now, so man, and people they're salivating. They're like, oh, please let me in. Can I please get in? Right. And so I think when you understand the activators of Prey Drive, you can use those activators to get people going. Now let's move to the follow-up. So we talked about initiation, steps of the sale. Okay. Cody, I want you to take this one first and then Nate's going to come in there. Once a person, let's say you do an incredible job with your pitch. You've shared your explanation of value, your explanation of service. You feel like you got core alignment in beliefs. You feel like they want to do it, but they don't do it that night. They say, let me think about it, sleep on it, pray about it, whatever they use. But you knew in the first 15 seconds that they're legit. What's your personal beliefs about follow-up? How many times? How many different ways do you go in the follow-up process?
Yeah, so we train insurance agents to go up to 12 touches.
Okay.
Within the next 72 hours. Okay. Mm. So I truly believe that time does kill all deals.
Okay.
Okay. So I was on a call from 5 to 5:45. Someone's trying to sell me this $20,000 program, and I don't know, I may do it, but I wanted to wait till next week. And he's like, and if he'd have been better at closing, he'd probably got me. But he's like, dude, let's get back on tomorrow. Because he knows that if he waits till next Thursday, I've moved on. My personality is super impatient. Like my TV's on a different channel, as Nate would say. So I really believe that time does kill all deals. Right now is the best opportunity. I don't want to wait over the weekend. I want to keep them engaged. For example, I'm working on a guy for $35,000 company consulting that we talked to today. So close to actually getting him to pull the trigger, but we don't have a great relationship. He's just getting to know me, even though he's probably a 9 out of a 10. So he needs to hear stuff. So I got 7 testimonials from clients, shot them over, you know, and we're getting back on the phone immediately, right? So that's that type of person just needs to know, like, and trust me a little more.
Yeah, and the follow-up is about momentum. There's 2 reasons I say people don't take action: fear and uncertainty. Fear is an unpleasant emotion created by a belief that something's going to harm me in the future. The number one way to overcome fear is through information. You need to be feeding people more information, right? And you need to understand that closing a person is about momentum. Momentum is energy headed in a direction. So you want to build momentum. And what Cody's saying there is time kills all deals. What you're really losing, I learned this as a basketball coach. You go down the court 3 times or 4 times and you don't score, you lose the momentum. You just score once out of every 3 or 4 times, you keep momentum. You score 4 straight times, you build incredible momentum. Well, same thing is true of selling. When it's hot, go. Keep going, keep pushing. It's like when I went to get my wife a Range Rover, and while I was there, I'm walking in to get hers, and the guy says, man, he just does this right here. He's like, look at that one. He's like, that one is a bad dude, coach. And here's what he said to me: you seem like a bad man. He's like, I've never bought a Carpathian gray vehicle in my life. You understand what I'm saying? I've never wanted a gray vehicle. And they got it up on a rock over there. And he's just like, look at that one. He said, you pull up in that, everybody will know how bad of a man you are, Coach BURT. He said, you see that one over there? That one says athlete, artist, country music singer. He said, that one says Coach BURT. What do? We walk out of there with 2 Range Rovers, right? I got a Carpathian gray Range Rover now. And it is a bad dude. But here's my point. He sold it to me. The dude, I mean, he used my own stuff against me. He activated my prey drive. He didn't even have to follow up, and he closed me on 2 of them in one night, Cody, to your point. He let no time get in there. Nate, what's your personal belief about follow-up?
I hate follow-up.
I do too.
So my follow-up's like 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Like I will do everything during that time to find out why you will not move forward with what I'm doing. And I'll do it in a very nice way, but again, it's by asking questions and stuff. I was always taught isolate the objection, right? Because everyone has all these different objections. Imagine you walk up to a table and you got to catch a bottle and the salt and you got the plate and everything else. Your job is to clear the table and find out what's the one thing that's keeping them from taking action. So, Coach, based upon what you saw today, right, which area is causing you to have to think about it? Was it the fact that you don't understand the product? Maybe I talked too fast. I did a bad job explaining the product for you today. Was it the fact that you just, I hate to say it, some people, you just don't really care what happens to your family if you were to die and you just have your wife go live with her sister? I don't think that's the case. Or was it the fact that you're just not sure about what you can afford currently right now? Which of those areas do you feel like that's causing you to delay moving forward tonight with me and making a decision?
Yeah.
So I'm the nice guy, inquisitive. Well, it's the money. Okay, so, and then this is key too. So when they say what it is, then I have to clear the table. So what you're telling me is you do believe in the product. You want to have protection for your family. You want to make sure that they're protected when you leave your planet. That is what you're telling me, isn't it? Well, yeah, that's absolutely right. Okay, and so and then I'll go through and I'll clear the table of anything else that they can come back and object on. So if I find out what is your objection, because what happens normally, sales guys are taught overcome objections. And I used it all the time. All right, overcome. I'm an objection overcomer. And as soon as you get done one, they give you another one. And they're like the guy at the bounce house, right? Boom, 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 boom. Well, it's not the money. Oh, it's the money. It's this. Oh, it's that. Well, if I can bring you down to planet Earth and isolate the objection, now that's the only one I have to overcome. Then I'm going to clear the table. So what you're telling me is the product makes sense. You do want to do it. But the only thing that's holding you back, I let them off the hook, is the fact that you're not sure how much you can afford currently right now. Is that what you're telling me? So if money wasn't an issue, you'd buy today, wouldn't you? So if money wasn't an issue right now and you knew exactly what you could afford, you'd buy today then, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Boom. Now I got to get it. Now I just take them down the road. You can do that with any objection it is. Right?
That's good.
So, I mean, I don't, again, short on time, so I want to go down there. There's 1,000 different questions you could ask him to make him make that decision.
Well, here's what I want people to know. An objection is, if you look up the word objection, I like looking up the meaning of words. The word objection is opposition of thought. You have a thought, they have an opposing thought. One of those thoughts is going to win. right? And typically, I can't tell you how many people are scared to spend money because I sell coaching and they're scared to death to spend $1 on themselves. But I have such a conviction that my conviction overcomes their insecurity. They have fear, unpleasant emotion created by what? A belief. What does fear create? Vacillation, doubt, insecurity. I say, man, I know you're scared. I understand that you're scared. I know you've never done this before, but I can't help you until you commit to something. Okay. Yesterday,
I gotta let you fail.
the guy used the word frugal. I said, have you ever invested in yourself before? He said, no, I've been frugal. And I said, well, the way you're looking at this is all wrong. You are your greatest asset, and you've never spent $1 to improve that asset. Money doesn't buy you freedom. Skills buys you freedom. Let me skill you up. Okay. Let me help you become a skillionaire. Okay. as my buddy Hoss Pratt says. Okay. To become a millionaire, you got to be a skillionaire. Now, my point is, when you get that concept, and I can say that to a person, and I have no hesitation whatsoever. I don't care if he gets pissed off. I don't care if he freaks out. I don't care if he says, I don't want to do it. I want him knowing when he gets off the phone, that dude can help me. That dude is an expert. Then, to Cody's point, we go 7 to 15 touches. I wrote a book on this called $1 Million Follow-Up. And I got a selling system called Legacy Selling. I got a new book coming out on that just came out, by the way. And I use 2 types of touches, linear and nonlinear. A linear touch is a direct hit. Cody, have you seen enough to make a decision? That's a very direct touch. Okay. But if I came at him like that every time, okay, he may retreat on me. If every time, if I hit him every time in the mouth, he may go, dang, this dude's pushy. So I don't hit him like that every time.
Yeah. Yeah. So some people would. I would not, but some people would. You know?
That's right. Most people would. You wouldn't.
Right.
So I come back at him and I hit him in a different way. Cody, let me give an example of 3 people I've helped. Okay. And I'd be happy to put them on the phone with you. Right. And now, okay. So what I do is that's a nonlinear touch. Cody, I'm going to send you these 2 videos. Watch both of them. I've got 3 testimonials too. Let's circle back. Let's circle back later today. That's a nonlinear touch. Cody, I've been thinking, and I've put together 3 strategies I think that help you make $1 million more in your insurance business. Let's schedule time to talk about them. That's a nonlinear touch. Linear is direct. Have you seen enough to make a decision? What would stop you from, what's prohibiting you from moving forward? Here's my favorite. Here's one of my favorites. Cody, I brought you everything you wanted on a silver platter. Now, what's the one thing keeping you from moving forward, man? These are closes I use. Okay. But I'm hitting people in the follow-up, nonlinear, nonlinear, nonlinear. Every 4th touch, I'm hitting them linear. Okay. Now, if you want a sweet tea, an apple pie sweet tea way to say it, Cody, out of everything I shared with you, what piqued your interest the most? Because it seems like you were really interested in this one part. Am I right about that? Yes. Okay, great. Let's unpack that one part. What piqued you? That's my soft sell. What piqued your interest the most out of everything I shared? My hard sell is, Cody, seems like you want to do this. Which credit card would you like to put this on? Right? Like, I can't help you until you commit. Like, well, you know, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10 now, how serious are you? Because I thought you were serious. You told me you were serious. Coach Berlin works with serious people, Cody. Okay, so are you ready to play at that level or not? All right, so go ahead, Cody. Something you want to say?
Yes, I think well, one thing that I've personally seen from you over the last year is your in selling, closing, like your whole focus, like you believe you're what's happened, and it's happening to me, and I'm training salespeople and insurance agents on it. Is I really believe a lot of salespeople struggle with their own level of certainty.
Yes.
You know, like in you, in your product, in your service, in your ability to help someone. And on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're not an 11 in yourself and what you're selling, you're going to struggle selling it. Like Coach, he personally knows that he is a world-class coach and the best business coach on the planet. He believes it too. And he knows that his product and service and what he has to offer is the best on the planet, which is why he expects everyone to say yes. And if you don't expect someone to say yes, and your certainty isn't like exuding constantly, why would they say yes?
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. And we've got a little bit left here. We want to cover a few things, but to that point, I really got on my team yesterday because I did this thing for folks in, you know, I did a big event. They've had Cardone, they've had Grover, they've had Story, and then they brought me in. And I said to them, I love all those guys, by the way. I said, when are you guys going to figure out that I'm on the same level with all of these people? Like I'm tired of selling y'all on me. Like right, I'm sold that I'm as good as these people are. Okay. So when are you going to be sold enough on me to go sell it like that? Right. And I always ask them this, how much did you ask for the sale? And I say, well, $14.97. I said, when's the last time you spent $14.97 on yourself?
Mm. Would
you spend $14.97 on yourself? Would you spend $25,000 on yourself? Because you're asking them to spend that money and you wouldn't even spend it. So my point is, you know, you gotta, to your point, Cody, and I hope people really get this. You are selling certainty. Where does certainty come from? It comes from freaking doing it thousands of times over and over and over, that there is no doubt that you can help another person get to a better place in their life. And I've been on all the big stages, 10X, I was on the Rise Up Challenge last week. I know, I've been there. I know what's under the hood with all these people. So you got to get to that point where you are so confident that you are selling that confidence.
That's right.
All right, let's talk about referrals. So let's say we do a great job and we close them down. They're now a customer or client of ours. And you know, you guys have helped thousands of people over your lifetime. We all could probably agree that it's easier to take a satisfied person that's an advocate of yours and let them go fight for you in the market. Like, I don't even know another person that does what you do, Cody, in the insurance space. So when I'm with insurance people, I tell them they need to do it with you. I don't even know if there's another person. I don't care if there's another person. So my point is, I just go out there and fight for you. Right. And you're good to me. Your wife's good to my wife. I mean, you know, I'm like, hey man, I'm fighting for this dude. And fighting for you doesn't only mean talking positive about you. To me, it means opening doors for you. To me, that's my love language. Like, I was on that thing with Gary Chapman the other day. I want to jump in there and say, I got a love language. It's called referrals, Gary.
That's the sixth love language.
It ain't quality time.
Quality time.
Or active service. It's referrals. That's my love language. When's that book coming out? Now, my point was, because I believe if I open a door, like we were sitting at a dinner at Ramiz and Tony and Jonathan and North Star, and I'm sitting there right beside Tim Story. And I said, man, if we could get you on stage at 8% with Cody, would you do it right now? That's what I asked Tim Story. He's like, yeah, I'd do it. And I walked right over to Cody and I said, man, Tim Story's in if you want him. Like, to me, referrals is opening doors. It's not just sending business. It's opening doors. It's opening up your whole deal, saying, hey, I want you to come in and experience this too.
And what did I say?
You said I'm in. You said
yeah. Most people think about stuff and they fill their mind with thinking about all this silly stuff when they could be making a decision and moving on, and like not clouding their judgment with all these silly small decisions.
Totally agree. I mean, you know, so when it comes to referrals, what's you guys' strategy on extracting new business out of your current book of business? Cody, start us off.
Okay. So, I mean, the way I ask is, you know, Nate, I'm assuming you've seen value for what we've done here today. You know, is that true? Would you agree with that? You know? Yeah. Okay, good. Well, hey, I'm about to ask you a question. And when I do, someone's going to pop in your head. They always do. You know, so tell me, who do you know, who's one person that can also use help with this as well? Well, I don't know. Well, if you just had to pick one person, right? I love using hypotheticals and asking a follow-up question. Well, if you just had to pick one person, you know, who would you say?
I like that. I like the very specific questions. I like the way you say it, because I've never heard this one before. I like the way you said, because somebody's probably going to pop up in your head.
Yeah.
I like that.
Priming. That's good priming right there.
And if you just had to, just one person.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. To that point, I say, Nate, have we helped you get to a better place, man? Nate says, absolutely. You've helped me get to a better place. And he tells me many times, well, you really helped me get to a better place here. And then I say, well, who else do we need to be helping? Nate, you're highly connected. You're connected to people all over the country. You're connected. I mean, man, you are a person of interest, man. And here's what I know, Nate. Like gravitates toward like. Association breeds assimilation. So if I like working with you as much as I do, I know I'm going to love working with your friends. Who else do we need to be helping? And sometimes it's like, man, well, you need to be doing something with Symmetry, or man, you need to be doing something with this group, or man, we need to be doing this, or I got 4 people on my team that really need your coaching. Great. Can you make that introduction for me? Mean the world to me, man, because I can't do it without you. I got a big goal. I got a long way to go and a short time to get there, Nate. So can you help me with my goal of get to 1,000 monster producers in the next year? You know, can you help me? Very few people say, no, man, I ain't going to help you. People say, oh, absolutely, I'd love to help you. So Nate, what's your strategy on extraction of new business out of your current business?
Well, it's funny that you said that the help part, because I was always taught that people will go out of their way to help somebody, you know? And so when I was in credit card processing or with insurance, a little bit different. And that's why I love being around you, because you have this process. I never had a process for referrals, right? It was like, okay, I need more business. How do I get some business out of the people that I've already helped, right? So like your process, I'm trying to learn and study and really understand completely, you know, because insurance, we have a lot of, like with what I do with mortgage protection and final expense, we have leads, and we've just now partnered with some other companies like Your Family Bank with the debt-free life product that we have that I think tomorrow you said you're going to call me so we can initiate that contract with you, Coach. You didn't say that, didn't you? No, I was kidding. So, I haven't dropped the ball on that one. But like when I was getting referrals, I'd ask for help, you know, and I would see, I'm always up for a promotion, right? I'm always up because you can always get better, right? Promotion doesn't have to be from your boss telling you you're promoted, but a promotion can be, I just made $10 more this month, right? I'm always in, or I'm in a contest to beat what I done last month, right? So I always say, hey, listen, Coach, it's Nate real quick. Listen, it's coming up towards the end of the month. I could really use your help, man. I'm up for a promotion. You know, I'm really, really, really close. Do you happen to know anybody that I could talk to that could benefit from what I was able to help you with? It would really mean the world to me. Because, man, if I can get this promotion, boom. And then now I'm going, oh, my God, if I could just help me, you know. How about, have you tried Sally? You know, it was funny because I had someone actually use that on me, called me up the other day. Someone that actually works with Remiz because she's in this final contest of her sales thing.
Yep.
I said,
called me too.
I was like, Kelly, I love you. I said, I wish I could. I said, but I've exhausted all my leads for insurance because I sell it. I've already done that to everybody, right? So I was still trying to think of like, is there a kids policy I can help her with? Is there some type of policy to do it with? But that has always been my go-to is to do that. And I honestly truly believe too that, you know, if you service them the right way and you make them feel, I think Cody calls it the cool down, but if you make them feel good about what you just did, they'll naturally want to refer you to others because they feel like subconsciously it's a way to pay them back. Plus it makes them feel good to do it as well. And people work on emotion and feelings. So many people forget that. They think, oh yeah, I closed that deal. Yeah, that person's not gonna, I mean, you ain't closed it. If it stays on the books, they ain't ever gonna let you talk to anybody else. Because they don't feel like they won. You closed it. Good for you. I'd rather help somebody where I all the time will say, Cody, you know, based upon what I see here in my professional opinion, if you really want to do this, that's great. But I feel like this is going to be more comfortable for you. The last thing we do is sign you up for something you're going to cancel in 6 months because it's pointless. And they like take their hand, they put it on my hand, they go, we really appreciate that, Nate. We can tell you have our best interest in mind. And I get referral after referral after referral. I could have made $100 more on that sale, in the insurance sale, but because they felt, which I was, looking out for them, they go, this is a good dude. Again, people got to like and trust you to do business with you. They got to love you to allow you to do business with their friends. That's the difference. They got to love you to allow you to do business with their friends.
Well, all right. So I want to introduce one concept, then we're going to hit person of interest, and then we'll get you guys out of here. And 79 people have stuck around for the whole thing. So I'm proud of you guys. Shows you got some guts and persistence. I love you for showing up. We're just trying to give you some value here, guys, and on what we know and how it can help you. But I think between the three of us, we sold millions of dollars of products and services. And, you know, so hopefully you've got your money's worth tonight because it was free. And if you didn't, we'll give all your money back. Okay. Now here's one thing I constantly say about referrals. Where there is no engagement with a product or service, there can be no transformation. And where there's no transformation, there is nothing to talk about. Okay. And what I mean by that is if I don't ever engage with my people, if I don't get Cody Askins to a better place in his life, if I don't engage with Nate Auffort, if I don't get him to a better place in his life, then the likelihood of him telling anybody about me, there's nothing for him to tell people. So I always tell people, I say this, I don't believe in customer service. People look at me like, oh my God, what? I say, no, I believe in customer engagement. Because if you engage with your customers, you're going to serve your customers. Right? Which is why I do so many things for the Monster Nation. It's why I have a call every Monday. It's why I do a Tuesday, Thursday rhythm. It's why I do a live session every month. Like the only reason you wouldn't learn in Monster Producers is because you don't show up. That's it. Because there's enough content for you to make millions of dollars, right? I believe in engagement. So I also believe in a strategy called the top 25. And the top 25 is where you build 25 deep and meaningful relationships with people who can and will fight for you. I don't know about you guys, but you guys are operating at a high level, and I get around other high level people, and some of them are selfish. They don't help other people out. They don't refer. They don't talk about you. You know, and every time I do, I talk about other people. I refer other people. I say positive things about other people. And then some of these guys that I've been on circle, man, they're selfish. It's all about them. They're self-centered. And I'm like, man, it makes you not want to refer them, right? It makes you not want to. It's like, man, there's a lot of people I could refer. I don't have to talk about you. So what you're trying to build in your top 25 is you're trying to build 25 people who will fight for you, 25 people who will tell other people about you, 25 people who will open doors for you, 25 people who will advocate for you, 25 people fighting for you in today's world could introduce you to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, right? Even the other day, Cody, when you posted about 8% on the virtual conference, and even Jordan Belfort posting on his page to his million people, that still exposed you and I to 1 million people. That's still advocacy. Everybody see what I'm saying? So advocacy is, I'm going to open doors for you. You're going to open doors for me. This is a vested partnership. This is not a one-sided relationship. We're in this together. Your success and my success is tied together, man. And I want to help you. So I just want to encourage people, sit down and build out your top 25 relationships. Engage with those 25 like crazy. Love on those people. Spend time with those people. Show up for those people. And stay at the top of their minds. And then they will refer you to other people. A referral is when a great person tells another great person how great you were. Okay, you don't want lousy people tell another lousy people how great you were. Those are called unqualified leads. Now let's close it out with this. And we're already giving people more than what we promised. Now I want to close it out with person of interest, because when I wrote the book Person of Interest, I didn't realize how big it would become. Number one, I didn't realize it would become one of my most popular books. But it is a concept. I think deep within every person is a desire to be known, a desire to be famous, a desire to be renowned, a desire to be celebrated in the world. And that's really what a person of interest is. So how do you think being a person of interest helps you close more deals? Okay, I have my personal beliefs, but what does it do to expedite the process or feed the pipeline? What's your personal beliefs about becoming a person of interest to the world? Nate, start us off.
I don't know. You guys have to answer that. I'm not a person of interest, so. I got like 5 likes on one of my posts the other day, but that was the one you tagged me in. But
yeah, but here's how I would tell you your person of interest. Take out the social. I think what you've done with symmetry, the teams you've built, and for everybody that's watching this, if I tell Nate to do something, he does it. If I say, man, you need to get on stages, you need to write books, you need to have your own deal, like everything I told him he needs to do to raise his person of interest score, he has done. Like that's it. Like you don't say, well, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it. It's like, man, I'm doing it. That's what you tell me to do. I'll do it. So I think you've become a person of interest in the insurance space and in all the industries you've really been in, to be honest with you. And right now people are just now starting to figure out, who is this guy? what you've been on stages, you got a story, you know, now you're just starting to tell that story at a higher frequency.
You know, I think so to your point, I've been a person of interest in a captive environment. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what I've always taught and what you were talking about was edification. Remember, I was edifying you to come to my training. And it's like, you know, if my daughter's standing in front of Starbucks with her best friend going, oh my goodness, this is the most amazing girl, most business-minded, 30-year-old woman you're ever going to meet. And she posted on Facebook. Okay. Versus whether you hate him or like him, if the president of the United States is around my daughter because of the status and goes, this woman is the most amazing business-minded 30-year-old woman, I mean, boom, there's night and day. Same words, same edification, but who'd they come from?
Right.
So what I found in being a person of interest in my captive audience was you didn't have to, you were able to move the ball down the field 20 times faster as a quarterback than you are as the guy who's picks up the jerseys and people's jock straps at the end of the game. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that was as long as you can keep your head level, which is tough because people become a person of interest and then they get the celebrity status and all of a sudden they forget where they came from. And my mentor always said, if you forget where you came from, you're headed on your way back. And a couple of times he had to remind me, hey, dude, I met you. You're broke, homeless. Get control of your ego a little bit, which is bigger, your ego or your bank account. Looking at your bank account and mine, your ego's bigger. So step back in line, right? So there was an advantage. So I do see that same advantage, obviously, working with you and Cody, because you guys are both obviously huge person of interest for Miz as well, and you know, a bunch of the people that you're coach. That there'd be a value in that too, as well, in terms of on a higher scale. I just got to get over the whole fact of I'm very private on certain things.
So I mean, to your point though, if we're having a meeting here and I'm up front and I'm the person of interest because I'm the one on the stage, or if you or I are speaking at Cody's conference and Donald Trump walks in the back of the room, he's going to have more attention than us because he's got more status than us. So status matters. I mean, Wolf of Wall Street has status because he had a movie made about him.
That's what did it for him.
Status. So status is raised when there's indicators. You've done something. You've created something. You've produced something. You've made something. You've done something other people, right? That's why these people that sell their companies for millions of dollars. You take a guy like Judge Graham, who sold his company for millions of dollars. Well, he's done something a lot of people hadn't done. And the other day he told me he was 42 years old. And I said, what? You're a year younger than me?
Wow.
I'm like, this is crazy. You're only 42 years old and you've already done some of these things. That's amazing. You're a person of interest. So status is high, to your point. And I love your analogy, Nate, of you throw the ball down the field a whole lot faster. Like you get on the phone with somebody who has high status, it's a done deal, man. Because you're dying to be part of what they're doing. Because they got something you want. Okay, that's why you want to become a person of interest. Negotiation is easier. You are already the buyer versus the seller.
Here's what I learned too. If you're not a person of interest, you better be a damn good advocate of somebody who is.
Yes.
That's going to raise your story.
That's exactly
right.
Right.
That's what I thought. Guess who I advocate? I'm an advocate of you. I'm an advocate of Cody. I mean, you guys are persons of interest, right? So I'm going to raise my person of interest score again, which is bigger. My personal interest score or my ego? Well, my personal interest score is 0. My ego has to go right down here and go, okay, great. If I want my personal interest score to go up, I got to be able to promote, be in bed with, pay to be around the people that have the interest. Because if I can be their advocates, they're going to be giving it back to me. And so now I'm on the receiving end of the person of interest saying, hey, check out this dude, which mouths my interest code. So many people can't do it. Which is bigger, your ego or bank account? The ego is the most expensive thing we own, and that's one of the things that I'm working on now is get around people like you. This is raising my personal interest score.
Yep, strategic partnership raises person of interest score.
Don't be afraid to pay to get around it.
Right. Cody, finish us off on your thoughts of person of interest.
Yeah, and one of the coolest things about Nate is he goes out of his way to be around people like Coach, but he also like goes out of his way to help people in his life. You know, like he's in my top 25 because the dude's bringing. He's the only person right now that is bringing over 100 people to 8% Nation.
Yeah. It's great.
Like, if that ain't a person of interest, like, I don't know what is, and I've been putting out content to the insurance industry for 4.5 years. If I would have quit at some point, the virtual conference was, you don't quit, you can't fail. If I'd have quit at some point, I don't know, we wouldn't have 375 agents reaching out to us last week looking for help in some way, organically, if people don't know you, they can't flow you. That's what GC says, right? And you're right, from a negotiation standpoint, it's amazing if you're a person of interest and you're putting out content and you're doing big things in the world and you're traveling and you're around people like Coach BURT and Nate Auffort, right? And other people, right? It ends up like people think about you differently because you were on a webinar with Coach BURT, you like, I didn't know you, but now you've leveled up a little bit in my mind. And when you get on the phone, they're like, oh man, I saw you on that thing with Coach BURT and you've been YouTubing for 4 years and I'll watch all your videos, I love all your stuff. And, I just want to do something with you, like it's not even, if your person of interest score is high enough, the sales cycle is shorter and their ability to say yes is almost immediate, I can say that is the one thing that has helped us have several companies doing millions of dollars is December 28th of 2015. I made a decision to become a person of interest and to become known.
Yep.
And always as a kid, when I watched my grandfather, who passed away last year as a Baptist pastor for 40 plus years, I guess I didn't watch him 40 plus years because, I'm not as old as Nate, but for a bunch of years, I used to think, I want to be traveling, speaking like he does. I want to be on stages like that dude. When I saw you at 10X2, I'm like, I want to be where that guy is.
Yeah.
What I do, I paid to be around you. Like you cannot go up without spending some freaking money.
Right.
And I bet in 2020, I've probably already spent 60 grand at least. Maybe 80 grand. I think I spent 60 grand at 10X. Don't let me go back there again. And because I want to move forward, I don't want to stay in the same place. And I think what like Nate mentioned earlier at the beginning of this thing, it ain't about money for me either. I want to leave a legacy like nobody has ever left on the insurance industry. That's what fuels me. And I wake up every day thinking I haven't accomplished nothing yet. And I want to go to bed every night saying, did I do all I could today? And for me to leave a legacy, I've got to be a person of interest.
Yep.
So I don't care how much money I got to spend.
Yep.
I don't care how many videos I got to do. I don't care how many times I got to text you to get your attention. Like at the end of the day, I have to be known to fulfill my mission in life.
Sure. Yep.
And you get me all excited talking about person of interest. You get me all worked up.
I love it. I love it because I've watched you do it. I've literally watched you do it over the last couple of years. The number of videos you put out, the number of things you did, the number of the conferences you've done, I've watched you do it. So you made a decision, and that's what I want people to take away from tonight is you made a decision to go. I've been talking about going pro. I got hooked on Stephen Pressfield a couple of years ago, and he wrote the book called Go Pro and Do the Work and the War of Art. And one of the things he said in Go Pro is I made a decision to leave my amateur desires behind and to freaking go pro in my life. And the other day I was asking myself, at what age did I decide to go pro in each area of my life? There was a year I decided to go pro in my learning. There was a year I decided to go pro in my faith. There was a year I decided to go pro in my body, my physical state. There was a year I decided to go pro. You see what I'm saying? Like there was a year that I kind of made a decision, body, mind, heart, and spirit, to go pro in every area of my life. And I was basically saying, I'm leaving all my amateur desires behind and I'm going to the top, man, in every part of my nature. And I think that's really what you guys are doing is you're going pro in every area of your life. And just a joke, just kind of a funny thing to say, when one of the number one things that's raised my person of interest score, that when people introduce me, that's been comical to me, is This dude's got his own private jet. And when you say that, somebody told me the other day, they said, you're the most humble dude in the world to have his own private jet. And I said, thank you for saying that. But that will raise your status. Okay. I've sat in meetings with people, $100 million companies, and for 2 hours over dinner, they wanted to know how they could buy their own private jet. So
Nate, we need a jet, bro. We need a jet, Nate.
That will raise your status, right? It will raise your status. And let's trust me, I can show you how to do it. So guys, I want to say thank you. You guys are awesome. I love both of you. And I really have a deep belief in both of you. And so at a very deep level, I just think a lot of you as people first and as salespeople second. And I've been honored to work with you and be just a very small part of your success. And listen, I think in a lot of ways, we're just getting started, guys. I really think we're just getting started. So I'm proud of you. I hope people really enjoyed tonight. We'll put this up on YouTube. We'll hopefully get thousands of views. We'll send it to you. You guys can share it. But I think it's been I've really had a lot of fun. And man, it's revived. It's activated that prey drive in me, man. I'm ready. I may call my wife and say, I ain't even coming home tonight. I got to sell something.
That's it. Thank you very much as well, buddy. Thank
guys,
you.
Nate, Cody, thank you to all the people watching. Love you, and we appreciate you. Hey, everybody needs a good coach in life. Thank you for coming to the Sell-a-thon tonight with me and Nate.
Thanks for your time, guys. Thank you, Coach.
You guys are awesome. Thank you. I'm Coach Michael Burt, and the #1 book that I've written over the last couple of years that could help you during these unusual times is a book I wrote called Inside the Mind of a Monster. Now, I want to give you that book. All you have to do is text 678-506-7543. Because when you text that in, I'm going to give you a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. And it's going to show you the habits and mindsets of top producers and how they attack every single day versus play defense. Don't you want to play offense? Get this book. I'm giving it to you. And I'm telling you, I'm going to turn you into a legendary creature.